Hello.
Hi, Charlie. This is Phyllis calling you back. I'm
Hi,
sorry.
Phyllis.
I had to take another call. I wasn't trying to hang up on you.
Oh, no problem. So
Take
for health and safety, as far as someone who would fit the parameters as far as those allegations being true, in order to qualify them for adult protective services, what would be some of the parameters of that?
somebody showing an inability to care for themselves, maybe somebody who is prescribed medication that's not taking medication, somebody who is putting themselves in harm's way. It could be a lot of different things.
Yeah. So do you understand that what has happened is, in my case, you have had someone contact you, and when you said medicine, I already kind of know, and falsely accused that I have been prescribed medicine, that I was not taking. Now, for me, that's obviously, again, that affects my life in many other ways. It's not just, oh, you guys
Okay,
closed the
so
case.
let's just be clear that I'm not saying that that is what.
No, I already know, Phyllis. Again, this is a situation in which abuse is happening. And so the only abuse, what's actually causing the abuse is the gaslighting from others, whether intentionally or not. But like, for example, from your agency, it has now taken me since 2017 just to have any kind of plausible understanding as to why that person would have ever even tried to make the allegation. Do you understand that? And I have been already informed that this person has made other false allegations about me having to take medication that was never prescribed, because I was never diagnosed with anything. And so, again, I understand there's kind of a gray area with your agency because your agency is just like, well, it's not true, so no big deal for you. But it does create a situation in which it makes it more difficult for me to hold a person accountable for making those false allegations. But more importantly, in San Francisco, all you agencies do speak to each other. I had to kind of piece this together by other agencies as well, in talking to people who were kind of being evasive like you, and weren't giving me any information as to even how or why they were even investigating the allegations, or how they could have even been seem plausible. But now I know. And then the question just simply becomes, well, it says you say case closed from the 2017 case, but that means that at some point in time, that person made a determination, that this person either was falsely accusing me, or not. And so that I do find that odd, as to, how's that work?
That we never had a findings in that case. That's what I was trying to explain to you. We determined there was no findings because you did not agree to engage with us.
Yeah, that's not
We
true.
cannot make a determination if we don't have consent.
No, I understand, but you understand that's not true. I've been saying that for the longest time. But more importantly, your agent Macario received an email about that. Basically, what happened again? This is abuse. What happened was the person who made that false allegation knew that I would be at work that day. They also knew that my basically my intercom for my apartment building goes to my cell phone. So they had told me I would be receiving a package that day, and I was working. And so when I received a phone call from my intercom at the lobby, I had believed that agent to be a driver, trying to drop off a package. And when they were trying to describe to me, that they were from Adult Protective Services and everything, I just couldn't even understand why, why would they would be there or whatever. They did leave a note on my door, and I did call them back. But what should be understood about that situation and how it's an abusive situation is the person who made that false allegation is also the person who accompanied the agent. But that person also had a key both to my front gate and the apartment. So what they did was a complete setup. They called Adult Protective Services, had me, have me give a reason to let somebody into the apartment building. Then they stood at my front door, with the agent, acting as if I was home. And then the agent believed that I did not want services. And then when I called the agent back, the agent simply did not want to note that abuse had happened. And again, I understand it's an awkward situation. I understand everything else, but realistically, from an agency like yours to be assisting in abuse, it just doesn't make any sense. At this point in time, it it just it just it just doesn't. It's just like, do you understand where I'm coming from?
I do. I do. And yet we have a job that we have to do.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not questioning it. I'm appreciative of it, but I guess just because I don't want to, like I said, I know it's awkward and it's weird, but I just need I need two things. One is just documentation as to what occurred, because again, it's just all, this person lives in a different state, and that's also what makes it difficult because it's all hearsay. And it makes it very difficult for me to address these things. But more importantly, because I do have heart failure, and I am in need of agency services at this point, I can't have an incorrect narrative of to what's happened. I've never been on medication. The only medication I've been on, I should say, is heart medication. I have never had any mental health issues. There's no reason to believe that, and that can easily be clarified and or sustained in other ways. But I can't have a situation in which someone who has clearly demonstrated an ability and desire to cause me harm continue to do so with the aid of agencies who, at the very least, should have been informed that that particular person, for various reasons, including they don't live in San Francisco, should not be listened to as far as those false allegations, or at least they should be handled differently. Do you understand what I'm trying to communicate?
I do. And as I tried to communicate to you earlier, it doesn't matter whether an allegation has merit or
It
not.
doesn't matter to your
Hold on,
agency.
hold on. I'm still talking.
Mm-hmm.
The federal government requires us under the Health and Welfare Institutions Code to go out and investigate those allegations regardless.
Well, again, you're convoluting to different things because if they
No,
were
I'm
properly
not convoluting
investigated,
two different things. I'm telling you that it doesn't matter whether the allegation
and I'm
made
telling
to
you I
us
understand that, that
has
doesn't change
merit
the
or
fact.
not. We are required by the
Again,
federal
no one's
government
arguing
through the
that,
states
Phyllis. No
to
one's
have
arguing that.
to
No one.
come
It's
out and
I'm not arguing that.
investigate.
I fully understand that, and I said I appreciate
And
that.
every time an allegation gets made, whether we know it's true or not,
Again,
we
Phyllis,
still have to follow up.
I feel again the main issue of the situation currently that occurred in 2017 and right now, so as far as I know, it's an active case with your agent Macario, is that it hasn't been fully investigated, has only been partially investigated. But again, that's a separate issue than how and you can aid as far as me being able to protect myself from abuse, and that is simply by providing documentation as to what has occurred. There's a separate issue obviously of trying to prevent you aiding in that abuse in the future, but right now there's again, it's kind of pick and choose. I can't think for you. I'm not trying to disrespect you. I understand that this may be something that just needs further follow up, call me back tomorrow, whatever. But whether it be documentation, whether it be the proper investigation of the current case, I do need some sort of kind of follow up on this. It's not as simple as, oh, the allegations were made, we have to investigate them. That's on your end. But I am a human being and your actions do affect me. So it doesn't just end for me there. And it doesn't really end for you there either because the proper investigation hasn't really been done. So that's why I'm saying you're convoluted two things. Do you understand that?
So, yes, I understand what you're saying. And so let me just say that in order for you to have copies of any of our files or documentation, you would have to get a subpoena and request it.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. This is a very odd situation. So in San Francisco, if someone uses San Francisco agencies to conduct abuse, the only way that the person can find any relief from the abuse that you helped impart is to get a subpoena.
If that is what you're asking for.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a simple situation. You
I mean,
received false allegations and took.
another situation is you can file a restraining order against the person if you know who the person
I
is.
can't file a restraining order for hearsay. Again, you're not. You're. That's what's very odd. Because what you're saying is that in San Francisco, if somebody calls an agency and makes false allegations, and that causes that person grief and stress, I have congestive heart failure. There's no doubt. There's a very clear medical understanding that stress can have huge negative impacts on my life. This person knew that they were making false allegations. Your agency knows that they're false allegations. But at this point, from what you're saying, from what you understand, your agency can do absolutely nothing about the fact that those allegations are part of a pattern of abuse.
No, we cannot. The only thing we have a legal mandate to follow up on it. I'm sorry, Jarvis.
Yeah, well, you also have a legal mandate to follow up on abuse, and so that's what's very odd because you're picking and choosing what mandates you're gonna pick to, and that's what I mean. Like, you're basically saying, hey, we're mandated to investigate if someone says you need help, but if you say you need help, you can only get that help if you subpoena us. That's what you're saying.
You're talking about two different things.
No, I'm not. It's the same thing. Your agency was part of abuse. It received false allegations that they knew were false, know they're false now. They know that those allegations did have an abusive effect. I'm telling you that right now. And you're saying, "Hey, even though that's abuse to you, it's not abuse to us." So,
that is not what I'm saying.
well, then then how do you justify not providing any assistance to stop the abuse?
Our work product is legal documents. We cannot
Yeah, but
handle
again, you're
legal
limiting yourself.
documents
You're limiting yourself. The
without a
fact of the matter is that in this particular case, you are able to contact agencies in Florida and say to them, "Hey, this person is making false allegations. It's hurting this other person. Can you at least figure out why they're making these false allegations? It doesn't
I
make
mean,
any
you're
sense that
able
they
to
are."
do that as well.
Excuse me, what?
You're able to do that as well.
No, again you're acting as you're being somewhat, and again I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just being factual in what I'm saying is that you're being delusional to understand in this situation. This person has
Okay,
already made
nothing
false allegations
delusional
about
over
me that
here.
have been believed. Even your agency has believed them. So I can't just do that because when I call them, what they do is exactly what you're doing to me right now, which is acting as if there's no merit to what I am saying. There's no merit to what they were saying either, but you had to listen to them. You don't have to listen to me.
Haven't I been listening to you?
No, in other words, you haven't enacted anything, and you're acting as if this is a therapy session, and that's what I mean. It's very inappropriate. If you're a professional and you can understand the situation, especially if your job is to protect people from abuse or people that need help, then you should be able to understand. I am telling you, I need help. There are very many options on how you can provide that help, and yet all you're thinking of are the options in which you are not able to. That's what's happening.
I'm sorry that you don't agree with our policy.
This isn't an agreement about policy. Again, you're a
I
professional
am
that works for an agency that is supposed
and
to provide
I
protection for
am
people that need help. And so it's not about being upset or agreeing with a policy. It's simply you not adhering to that policy. And that's what's confusing.
so would you like to make a report against the people who you believe are abusing you?
Again, this
Would
is
you
that
prefer to do
it,
that?
I don't understand why you believe it's appropriate to ask me that question, considering the fact that obviously I've communicated that, but also I've communicated the fact that I've tried to do that and haven't been, simply for the simple fact, again, that this person has made allegations that have been believed. just like your agency has believed and has acted and investigated on, investigated those allegations. But conversely, is not at all investigating or following up any further or in any of the investigations I'm making, and therefore saying this other person's allegations have merit. We can listen to them, but we can't listen to you, but are not explaining why.
I've not said that the other person's allegations have merit. I've not said
You
that.
are saying the agency has done that simply by investigating them, and more importantly by
That's not what we
furthermore by
said. That's not what
furthermore
I'm
by
saying, Charlie.
furthermore deciding when they were contacted in 2017 and said, hey, this is bullshit, and it's
Okay.
abuse, and it's weird that you guys would even be following up an allegation about health and safety, at all, period. Can you at least describe why? Again, it's only been in this phone call now, years later, where you gave a description as to a possible reason as to why you would have. That still does not at all answer as to why you have decided that you don't want to have it documented that that was a false allegation. You have decided that in 2017, the case is simply closed because I didn't want services, which is not true, but you still haven't given any indication as to how that record will be corrected, regardless of whether or not I can get a copy of it. And you still have not addressed the fact that the open allegation right now would require you to, contact another agency or at least document that this is now the second time that these were false allegations. And there are mandates involved in that because you are being told that I'm in an abusive situation and I do need help. And so it's not inappropriate for you to contact other agencies that are able to provide that help. But I can't do that for you. It would be odd for me to dictate that for you.
So that's a conversation that you can have with Macario.
Again, you were contacted because Macario is acting unprofessionally. This is what I'm saying. Like, we're now 17 minutes into a phone call. I have not disrespected you. I'm just simply trying to protect myself from abuse. That's all I'm doing. And yet you are going back and forth on things that were already discussed during the first minute. And more importantly, you should have an understanding that whether it be for mental health reasons or professional reasons, obviously there are many things that you can do, that you should do, that would require you to take time, get off the phone with me, and follow up on. Again, you're acting as if this is a therapy session in which everything can be resolved in one phone call. All answers are done, and case closed. Charlie goes on in his life and is not affected at all by Macario's behavior or the behavior in 2017. It's very unfair to me.
So, Charlie, I'm not a protective services worker, not a social worker. I don't investigate cases or reports. That's Macario's job. I'm his supervisor. I'm not going to do his job, because you're not satisfied with how he's doing.
Again, you don't, again, stop being offensive because I'm not offending you. I didn't say I'm not satisfied. And it doesn't even fucking matter if I was satisfied or not. Again, what the situation is that I am in an abusive situation. Your agency is mandated to protect me or find help and or at the very least conduct a proper investigation. And that's all we're trying to do here is make sure that because your previous lack of being able to actually document and have a proper investigation has continued to cause an abusive situation for me, to make sure that this does not continue to happen with the current investigation. Doesn't require you to do his job. Doesn't even fucking matter if I'm satisfied or not. What it does matter is, as you said, you've been mandated. You've been mandated to properly investigate all allegations. And so, as part of investigating the current open investigation with your agent that you're a supervisor over Macario, is to supervise him and make sure that what I have communicated to you is included in this report, which is those allegations are demonstrably false. And there is a mandate to go ahead and follow up on the allegations of abuse that those allegations have caused. It's very simple. Allegations have caused abuse. You are mandated to investigate that abuse. It requires you to go ahead and at the very least, ensure that Macario is clear and that the report is clear, whether I have a record of it or not, that those allegations were false and are a pattern of abuse.
So what I can tell you for absolute sure, Charlie, is that I'm going to have Macario call you. And I would...
It would be better if he emailed me. Again, I don't understand what you're not understanding about you. Again, you were offended because you didn't understand the definition of gaslighting. That is gaslighting because in this situation, all this talk is only creating more abuse. Again, this is not a therapy session. I shouldn't have to talk to you for this long. It's actually offensive to me that I have paid taxes in this city for this long to speak to someone who apparently can't even understand the mandate of their job. But that's a different situation than, again, that's a different situation than understanding gaslighting. And gaslighting would be to keep this as if there's no ability to document what's happening.
You can call DOS Intake at 415-355-6700 and you can make a complaint.
It's not about, again, again, the complaint doesn't matter. The complaint doesn't make it okay.
Hi, you have reached the voicemail of Phyllis Pettit, Supervisor with Adult Protective Services.
Hello.
Charlie, I don't have any more time to talk to you.
Again, Phyllis, I've repeated myself many times and said to yourself, you have my email. It would be more appropriate to follow up with me in writing. Are you not listening?
If you want to make a complaint,
Again, Phyllis, you're jumping all over the place. The complaint does not at all address the current investigation. Those are two different things. That's why they're two different departments. That's why things are called a bureaucracy. That's why San Francisco works the way they work. I don't know if you had to take a civics class, but you should be able to understand that me being able to complain about your actions does not at all address the consequences of your actions otherwise.
I have other things that I have to do.
Again, Phyllis, this conversation was started with saying to you, again, Phyllis, are you a fucking crazy person? Are you crazy? Are you fucking crazy on the phone right now, Phyllis? You fucking stupid bitch. Are you fucking crazy repeating a phone number? This is what San Francisco pays for? A fucking crazy bitch repeating a phone number on the fucking phone? You think that works? You think that makes it over? Again,
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. Your call cannot be Hi, you have reached the voicemail of Phyllis Pettit, Supervisor with Adult Protective Services. I will be away beginning November 30th, returning on Monday, December 14th. All calls will be returned upon my return to the office. Visit an urgent issue, you should call the Adult Protective Services hotline number at 415-355-6700. Thank you. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Phyllis. This is Charlie. Once again, I'm not sure what you felt would be appropriate about simply repeating the phone number over and over again, but more importantly, not understanding that having the ability to complain about what you're doing doesn't change the fact that what you're doing is incorrect and needs to be stopped now. Very simple concept. Again, my name is Charlie. Phone number is 415-637-7740. I expect a call back and or email. Thank you.